Dumped. During deployment, I later discovered my fiancée cheated through her own Reddit posts. Now she struggles with the guy she left me for, giving me unexpected closure. This whole situation really messed me up for quite a while. But recently, I finally found the closure I needed. I had been in what I believed was a happy, long-distance relationship. We met early on during one of my school programs, and we made sure to spend as much time together as we could. Sure, we had our share of arguments now and then, but nothing too serious. Just the usual stuff you'd expect from people in their early 20s. In the fall of 2018, we got engaged during a visit to my family. The last time we saw each other was in March 2020, just before I left for deployment. Neither of us knew it would turn into an extremely long deployment, almost a year, but we were both committed, or at least that's what I thought. Each week, I spent about $200 on phone cards so I could call the important people in my life, especially her. Staying connected was crucial to me, and I even used email to keep in touch. I felt like everything was going well. I had a solid support system back home, and I was doing my best to stay healthy for the future we'd promised each other. But then, in December 2020, just a week after Thanksgiving, I got an email from her saying we needed to talk without the usual "I love you" at the end. I instantly felt a wave of dread and sickness in my stomach, sensing what was coming. Due to the time difference, I couldn't call her right away, and it wasn't until the middle of the night that I finally got the chance to talk. What I got instead was, "I don't know what I want right now. I need a break. Please don't call me. I'll reach out when I'm ready." Speaking from a distance, but also from a very personal place, I was completely shattered. The isolation of my bunk made it worse, so I started staying awake much longer than I should have, just to be around friends. I stopped working out, stopped talking, and at times it felt like I stopped thinking altogether. I just wasn't mentally present. December was tough, with both Christmas and her birthday passing by, and I wasn't able to reach out to the person I'd trusted with my heart. After a full month of silence, I finally broke down and called her, demanding a direct answer. We broke up, and she offered me no closure. Just said she didn't love me anymore. That was the part that tore me up inside and affected almost every relationship I tried to have afterward. How could someone be so reckless with love? Had she been lying to me all those years? That month of torture, being stuck in limbo, refusing to believe it was really over, left me wondering how I could ever open myself up like that again, knowing my heart could be ripped out so easily. These questions haunted me. I didn't date properly for the next 3 years. I'd show interest, go on a date, and then disappear from every single person because I couldn't shake the feeling of never being able to be vulnerable again. I kept in touch with her for a while. I know, not the smartest move, still hoping to find the closure I never got. I also kept up with her posts on Reddit. It was something we'd done during our relationship since I was the one who first introduced her to it. I knew her account, so when we were still together, I'd secretly upvote her posts to lift her spirits. But during one of my snooping sessions, just before I came back to the States, I discovered through one of her posts that she had a new boyfriend. I saved that post so I could easily go back to check for any comments she made, trying to piece together why things had ended. It seemed odd and suspicious, but I didn't have any solid proof. She had been cheated on before and always swore up and down that she'd never do that to someone else. I still believed her at the time. Eventually, I blocked her everywhere except on Reddit after I found out she had bought a house with this guy less than a year into what was visibly a relationship. To me, that suggested they'd been together much longer than it seemed. But again, I didn't have any hard evidence. Even after blocking her, I would occasionally think about the relationship, mainly because I was still dealing with unresolved trauma that kept me from dating anyone seriously. Then I met my current girlfriend, and for the first time in a long time, I felt truly accepted and loved. Our conversations are open and honest, but there's a lot of love in them. We aren't afraid to speak up when something's off, and there's no fear of backlash. I hadn't really felt that way outside of my immediate family before. To put it plainly, no matter what happened to me in the past, it didn't hold any weight in my life now. I stopped seeing my vulnerabilities as something I needed to guard fiercely, and started seeing them as something worth sharing. Just a few days ago, after saving quite a few posts, I decided to go through what I had collected.
I found that one post I'd saved and, out of curiosity, decided to check if anything had changed with my ex. Sure enough, it had. Through her own words, I discovered that she had cheated on me, and now she was having trouble in her relationship with the guy she cheated with. I'll admit, it felt pretty good. I got the closure I didn't necessarily need, but it felt great to be so undeniably right. She talked about all the sex they had while we were still together, and how that wasn't happening anymore. I couldn't help but laugh at my past self for being so clueless about it all. I really dodged a bullet and ended up with someone who feels like an angel. It felt like a cold case finally being solved, and I just had to share it. If you've read this far, thanks for sticking with me.